The countdown to the News9 Global Summit Germany edition has begun. It is back in Germany, this time on the 9th of October. But today, the capital of Germany, Berlin, hosts the curtain raiser to what promises to be a defining platform for dialogue and partnership. Bear in mind, the summit comes at a special moment, marking 25 years of Indo-German partnership. At its heart is a commitment to strengthening bilateral collaboration in a world grappling with fast-changing geoeconomics and geopolitical realities. From boosting trade and investment to taking Make in India to Germany, the News9 Global Summit will bring together leaders from all walks of life, policymakers and industry voices to map out new pathways of cooperation. And today's curtain raiser in Berlin really sets the tone for high-powered discussions, fresh ideas and bold solutions, all with a clear focus, strengthening Indo-German ties in a shifting global landscape. Bear in mind, the News9 Global Summit Germany edition 2025 is set to take place at the iconic MHP Arena in Stuttgart, the automotive capital of Germany that hosts the makers of Mercedes-Benz, among others. That is set to take place on the 9th of October. That's the date for the News9 Global Summit Germany edition this year, 2025. It's back in Stuttgart, but this time it's bigger and better and bolder than last time, which was the first edition of the News9 Global Summit. This time around, we have more than Stuttgart being offered to you. This time we are going to be present across some of the biggest cities in Germany, beginning with Germany's capital, Berlin, where we will be doing a curtain raiser to the News9 Global Summit Germany edition set to kick off in Stuttgart on the 9th of October. Today will be that curtain raiser in Berlin, after which we will be taking matters to Munich also as well, where we will be marking News9's presence and also telling the world about the News9 Global Summit in Munich as well. So after Berlin and Munich, we will eventually all head to Stuttgart for the News9 Global Summit Germany edition. Bear in mind, some big names, big Indian ministers and big political figures from Germany as well are all set to attend, from Union Minister Piyush Goyal's address, which will be a part of the Summit. Union Minister for Commerce and Industry will also have MP Shri Anurag Thakur also being present, apart from the Industry Minister for the state of Maharashtra, Uday Sawant. And also we have the address by the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Devendra Fadnavis, as part of this summit as well. So those are some of the big Indian names set to be part of the summit. Take a look at this teaser. That's right. History was made last year in 2024 with the inaugural edition of the News9 Global Summit. The Germany edition, in fact, was indeed the inaugural edition of the News9 series of global summits. And now it's back in Germany. And this time around, it will not be just Stuttgart where we will be going. We will be beginning our journey in Berlin starting today, after which we will head to Munich and then to the city of Karlsruhe as well, after which we'll all eventually converge in Stuttgart at the iconic MHP Arena, the home of football in Stuttgart, the capital of the state of Baden-Württemberg. Bear in mind, the summit has been co-hosted by 4FB Stuttgart, Stuttgart's football team, and it's being hosted at their home, or the home of the football team of Stuttgart, the MHP Arena in the city, and is being supported by the state of Baden-Württemberg as well. A key focus of this summit will be the cooperation between the state of Baden-Württemberg and the state of Maharashtra in India, a partnership that has lasted a decade and is set to continue and grow stronger in the coming days as well. So you have leaders from the state of Maharashtra and also the Minister President of the state of Baden-Württemberg, Winfried Kretschmann, also attending the summit, also delivering an address, a day-long summit that will feature key ministerial addresses. Also, we will have the ambassadorial address by Shri Ajit Gupte, India's ambassador to Germany as well. And prior to that, we'll have the Consul General of India in Munich also being part of our lead-up, our build-up to this News9 Global Summit. The summit is set to witness big names from industry as well as policymakers and also others from the field of culture and culinary traditions, as well as we bring together an incredible platform that's all about bridging the India-Germany connect and making it better. It's the 25 years of strategic partnership between Germany and India, and that on that momentous occasion is where the second edition of News9 Global Summit Germany edition is set to take place, and this will be a platform that will see some interesting discussions and some bold solutions being proposed. Bear in mind, India is the world's largest democracy and Germany is Europe's biggest economy, and it's a match made in heaven, a partnership, a strategic partnership that has grown from strength to strength over the last 2.5 decades and has the potential to grow even further as geopolitics and geoeconomics shifts. Bear in mind, India's relationship with both the European Union and Germany is going to be crucial in the face of tariff threats from US President Donald Trump. We have my colleague Karthik Malhotra now joining us live from Berlin. For more, Karthik, talk to us about all that's going to happen in Berlin today.
Hey Krishna, yeah, well, to begin with, as you can see, I'm standing right outside the Brandenburg Gate, and it's absolutely symbolic because, you know, this is the bridge that pretty much divided East Germany and West Germany about 30 years ago. And what has really happened now is that while this unification, the reunification of Germany marked the end of a Cold War, now when we are standing here in 2025, there's another sort of a Cold War brewing between multiple countries across the world. And of course, there is US, which is right at the helm of this new Cold War and this tariff and trade war that we're talking about. And of course, you know, that becomes absolutely significant as one of the placeholders for the News9 Global Summit. And some of the themes that we would be addressing in the News9 Global Summit, Krishna, as you know, are linked with tariffs and with these changing geoeconomics as well as geopolitics. Now, specifically, why Berlin and why today? Well, this year around, Krishna, instead of just focusing on Stuttgart and just focusing on the manufacturing and the auto and sustainability story, the News9 Global Summit has in fact expanded its catchment areas and its width. So we are in fact starting off with curtain raisers, which the first one of those would kick off with the Ambassador of India in Germany, Mr. Ajit Gupte, tomorrow at the GIIC Summit. And that GIIC Summit, in fact, is happening just walking distance from the Brandenburg Gate. And in fact, it may not be visible because these lovely autumn trees are covering the view. But we start off with Berlin and then we head to Munich, where incidentally, Krishna, you yourself are going to be there. And that would be the second curtain raiser to the News9 Global Summit. And that second curtain raiser is going to be with the Consul General of India and in partnership with the Export Council of Bavaria. And then, of course, we also head to Karlsruhe, And at Karlsruhe, we'll have the Lord Mayor of Karlsruhe, and we would have a conversation with him. And Karlsruhe is the sort of hub of all MSMEs called the Mittelstand in Germany. And then, of course, on Thursday we head to Stuttgart. And at Stuttgart, at the News9 Global Summit, the second edition of the Germany Summit, we will, of course, be discussing everything from tariffs to sustainability, automobile, as well as, of course, multiple other themes, including innovation, including the startup ecosystem, and of course a theme which is absolutely vital right now are the opportunities for Indians to study in Germany. And this ties back to the geopolitics and the geoeconomics that you're talking about, because with the clampdown pretty much on the H-1B visas, with Donald Trump and his administration making it difficult for tourists, for students, and for those wanting to work in the United States, I think Germany definitely shines as one of the brighter spots for Indians to consider. So study in Germany is also going to be one of our focus areas, Krishna.
Karthik, study in Germany is going to be a focus area, very, very important, very contextual, very relevant in the times that we live in, when there's uncertainty over visas. But the fact of the matter is that this is a summit that is a 360-degree summit as well, isn't it? Now, we're talking about everything from geopolitics and economics from beer to butter chicken as well. This is a summit that brings together everything from policymakers to corporate leaders to culture and culinary traditions as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. So Chef Kunal Kapoor is going to be there. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to spill the beans just as yet, because tomorrow onwards is when our ads are going to start releasing about the News9 Global Summit. But of course, to spill at least one bean, or rather one little droplet of butter, well, I think it's fair to say that Chef Kunal Kapoor is going to be there with us in Stuttgart. And of course, he's going to be in conversation with a few winemakers as well. So, beer to butter chicken, of course, what better time again to talk about beer when the Oktoberfest is on in Munich, and of course the Stuttgart Beer Festival is going to be on in Stuttgart when we are there. And of course, we would be bringing our viewers live coverage from there. But yes, you're right. I think, it's not just business, it's not just education, it's not just, an investment climate which is under discussion, but also the people-to-people connect. And that people-to-people connect really happens, best over food, or arguably over a glass of beer.
Okay.
But having said that, Krishna, I think, it's fair to also state at this point that it's also fair to state at this point that there is, while you mentioned the 25th year of strategic partnership between India and Germany, this is also the culmination of the 10th year of strategic partnership between the state of Baden-Württemberg and the state of Maharashtra. And the government of Maharashtra and a few of its departments are incidentally partners to this initiative this year around. And there is, of course, going to be dialogue between stakeholders, between government officials, and between, of course, policy makers, decision makers, to really further strengthen the strong ties that exist between India and Germany, between the state of Maharashtra and the state of Baden-Württemberg. And of course, this summit comes at the heels of the India-EU FTA, which has been reiterated multiple times, which is likely to be signed by end of this year.
Right, Karthik, even as you're bringing us this live report from the iconic Brandenburger Gate in Berlin, we can hear some lovely music playing in the background as well. As you're bringing us this report, I'm sure the atmosphere is absolutely electric over there. It's a wonderful time to be in Germany as well, isn't it? Not the cold, bitter winter, and not summer either. Just the perfect time. I can see the sunlight just streaking through as well as we speak.
You're quite right, Krishna. And in fact, I was trying to tell this to you earlier, but the line broke that the weather is actually drifting. It's becoming a little sunny. It's becoming a little cloudy. There are a few drizzling drops of rain as well. And of course, you can see the autumn leaves, and you can actually see it's one of the four seasons which is pretty much absent from India usually. But you can see these lovely autumn trees and the autumn leaves. And the music that you're talking about, Krishna, that music is actually coming from across the road, and which is so typical in Europe as well as in Germany as well. You actually have street music and this culture of somebody just coming, hooking up two speakers, getting a violin or getting a guitar as the case may be, and really creating that environment and creating that vibe, so to speak, of passers-by, really just taking a deep breath, just savoring this environment, environment, this climate, this weather, and of course with music adding to the symphony of life, as you call it.
Right.
So it's actually a great time to be in Germany. It's not cold, it's definitely not hot, the sky is absolutely blue. So we hope that the investment climate would also eventually turn out to be as blue as the skies are, and hopefully the India-EU FTA should not be clouded by any of those carbon taxes that that EU wants to slap on India. So that is something that we would of course want to address as well in the News9 Global Summit.
Right, I was just about to say it's a great time to be in Germany, especially considering the India-Germany relationship. And in the context of things, the sudden increase in importance, we're talking about the third and the fourth largest economies in the world. And here you have an Indian news network, an Indian broadcast news network hosting a summit in Germany. It has never been done before by any other news network, leave it out in Germany, anywhere else in the world. Now, you yourself have been part of several News9 Global Summits, everything from last year's first edition of Germany to Dubai to Abu Dhabi. Now, back with the Germany, this is a statement that the TV9 network is making that it is going to be a crucial part of building these bilateral relationships between India and the world.
No doubt about that. I think, as news networks, as responsible news networks, we feel it is even our duty to create these platforms which can encourage dialogue, and dialogue from a B2B perspective, a B2G perspective, and also a G2G perspective. So we are looking at inviting conversations, dialogues to really help the business community in India find ways to look at partnerships in Germany, and likewise to look at German companies looking at offshoring as well as outsourcing some critical component manufacturing to India. And one of the big themes that emerges this year, Krishna, is the defense manufacturing, and in fact that is one of the panels in which we are really looking at some solid exchange of ideas on how India and the Make in India story and the Atmanirbhar Bharat story when it comes to defense manufacturing can sort of get this shot in the arm with some technology transfer, with some more contracts coming by way of this Atmanirbharta for India by German companies and German defense manufacturing companies. So defense continues to be a big focus, a big theme for us this year around, and not just with a sense of Atmanirbhar Bharat. I think it's also a critical time when this entire question mark on NATO and the autonomy, the military autonomy of NATO looms large, because Donald Trump has pretty much stated in no unequal terms that boots on ground or air defense to Europe will not happen under the NATO agreements unless the European economies also up their defense budgets to 5% of their GDP. In fact, Germany has taken the lead already. If I'm not mistaken, about 3.5% of the GDP for the country of Germany has been allocated towards defense. But then it's not something which can be ramped up immediately. It's not a sector in which you can immediately scale from 100 to 1,000. And that is where Germany and an Atmanirbhar Germany and an Atmanirbhar NATO and an Atmanirbhar EU is going to look at forging partnerships with countries which have a strong manufacturing capability like India. And that is something that we would want to address in the News9 Global Summit as well.
Lots to look forward to in the second edition of News9 Global Summit, Germany edition, and all of it kicks off today in Berlin. Karthik, I'm going to wish you all the best for Berlin, for the first of the two curtain raisers for the News9 Global Summit. Thank you so much for joining us with that live report straight from the iconic Brandenburger Gate in Berlin. And we will be getting you all the latest on the News9 Global Summit in the coming days.